Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today, it's going to be an interesting show. John and I, we're going to cover a bunch of stuff. WL 404, there's plenty still going on there. We're going to interestingly cover the state of the sport. There is so much happening globally with the sport in different leagues. We're going to get John's opinion and going to hear a lot about what's going on all over the globe. And then we might touch on a bit of what's going on with all of the Devon Larratt sagas and Matt Mask sagas as well. It's pretty entertaining. But John, how are you, mate?
Doing good.
Good stuff.
How's Australia? It's still early there, huh?
Yeah. It's nice and bright and early in the morning here, and I'm in a pretty mild part of the country, so it's not too cold, even though it is winter. But yeah, Australia is going well. I pulled a tournament on the weekend, the New South Wales State Championship, pulled against the super heavyweights, and had a blast. I was still sore from the US, but had an absolute blast in that.
Yeah, I imagine. My arm is just starting to recover now, and I haven't pulled like you did. You went to California and pulled with those guys out there, and I can imagine your arm was sore.
Yeah, John, I'm going to hit you up straight away with the question. You spent a fair bit of time off from the sport over the last couple of years, but then just the other week, as you said, Arizona, you pulled Travis Bagent. Now you've got Devon Larratt and Matt Mask baiting you to come back. Is there temptation there to put your elbow on the table?
Oh, obviously there's temptation, and the problem is, though, that my mind still thinks I can do the things that my body can't do anymore, and the three-year layoff isn't helping me any, but I kind of made my mind up 3 years ago that I was going to be done and done. I've held true to that, except for the fact that Travis egged me on. But and it was dangerous for me to even do that. I mean, I could tell my brain still said, you can do this, you can do that, and this is normal, and this should feel right, and everything felt awkward. Everything, I could have easily hurt myself, and it would be a very tough road to come back to compete at the level that I enjoyed. And it's just not happening for me at this age. I mean, it'd be crazy. Even if I continued to do it like I was doing, I was struggling with the injuries in the shoulder and just the inflammation and the pain and the aches and pains. It just wasn't worth it anymore. And to be honest, I wasn't improving anymore. I was, I could tell that I was declining. So, that's kind of, disheartening. I mean, there's really no reason to continue when you're not improving. I mean, it's still fun to go to workouts and train in that, but. That's when I decided enough was enough.
And you went out on a pretty good place anyway, beating Devon Larratt in the 2015 WL finals. Yeah. That's a nice place to.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wanted to accomplish that. I mean, that was the big thing for me, and I had a real difficult time actually even getting involved in the WAL because of the UAL problems and the contracts and that. So it was really. I knew my time was limited, so it was really important, and I'm glad I was able to compete in that tournament for sure.
Yeah, no, that match has, I think, gone down for me personally as one of my all-time favourites. It just seemed like someone to be able to get over the top of Devon Larratt's hook like you did was very impressive. But anyway, I'm sure Matt Mask and Devon Larratt are going to be continuing to egg you on over the next few months, and even Igor offering you matches on arm fights too. So I don't think you've seen the end of that.
Yeah, well, and the joke of the matter is that I am so sadly out of shape. I mean, you see how I struggled with you. I mean, not that you're a horrible arm wrestler, but I mean, it's almost laughable that Igor is wanting me to, consider a match with Babayev. Like, okay, maybe Babayev's grandkid, maybe I'll arm wrestle him. I'm not wrestling Babayev. That's crazy. But, the first step would be to go to practice, right? I mean, get a little bit of training in, but. I don't see that happening. After this last weekend or 2 weekends ago with Travis, I'm just barely getting over the soreness and the hurt in the shoulder, and I know that would all come back if I started doing it on a regular basis.
Yeah, most definitely. John, I'd love to ask you about your opinion on the state of the sport. Obviously, there are many leagues all over the globe. We've got the WAL in your hometown of the USA. Obviously, we've got WAF globally that have been around for 40 years. 40 years, I think they'll have their 40th championship this year. The PAL, obviously, professional league over there with the Arm Fight Series and Zloty.
Right.
It's always ebbed and flowed. How do you see the state of the sport?
Well, the biggest difference right now in this era is the social media. I mean, hell, you can't even arm wrestle in your backyard against your neighbor without it, being worldwide, being on the World Wide Web and everybody in the world being able to see it. So just that alone is really making it a lot more popular. Obviously, like you said, the more the merrier as far as the leagues go. I really like what's going on with the WAL. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of watching the sport of arm wrestling. Always just been a competitor. But the angles that they're using and the format and just the whole setup is very exciting for a spectator. And I really believe that of course they're using internet right now, but eventually they're going to get fans that are non-arm wrestlers, which may convert them into arm wrestlers. But I really like what they're doing, obviously.
I agree that the format of the WAL is at its best that I've seen it so far. The theatre of the matches, and even the digital approach that you mentioned, social media being such a key thing to expansion. And I think that they've kind of stepped back off television, which I think is a good thing, because I don't know about you, but I don't watch television like I used to, and
right.
it's all digital entertainment now. So it's good to see them in that space.
Well, and maybe that's what it is for me. I mean, for the most part, I knew by the time it went on TV, I already knew what had happened. So this internet being live really steps it up, and it really makes it exciting for me personally. I mean, I know that it's I'm getting the live feed, and this is what's going on right now. So it definitely.
Now, of course, that's kind of the WAL's approach. The PAL is probably, in a global sense, the other company that is making a professional image of arm wrestling. Obviously, the Arm Fight series that's coming up in November is going to be one of the most amazing Arm Fight series. And I've actually got a T-shirt that I'm wearing right now. I know you can't see it, John, but Marcin sent me a T-shirt, and I'm literally wearing Devon Larratt, Saplenkov and Pushkar on my shirt at the moment. So I think that's going to be a pretty good event. I love the way that they do things as well.
Yeah, no, practice makes perfect, and Igor and the group at PAL have been doing it the longest, so they know what works, what doesn't work. They've tried all kinds of different things, and their shows are super spectacular. I mean, it's almost like going to a 4th of July show. I mean, with the background, the lights, and sometimes they have music, and it's just a big party, and very well done. Yeah, now if they can get it to a little bit more edgy like the WAL is doing with revving the guys up, it's the PAL still, which it's not bad. It's very professional. I mean, everybody's very nice and polite. Or the WAL guys now looks like they're about ready to kill their competitor if they get treated wrong, which just increases the drama and the tension and the excitement.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at obviously someone like Devon Larratt is probably in the thick of it the most at the moment. He's about to feature in the WL 405 in a huge match against Matt Mask, and he's obviously about to feature in arm fights against Denis Saplenkov, which is probably the biggest match of the year. That match right there. So how do you think it's going to affect the way that an athlete like Devon has to prepare differently for those two different formats?
Well, Devon always excels in the the one-on-one, but Devon. I thought you were going to ask me about the character that Devon's become. I mean, I've seen some of his videos now, and boy, it kind of threw me back a little bit. It almost kind of scared me with his response to Matt Mask about being a hunter, and he's going to
cut your throat in front of everyone.
I got like a little chill, like, this guy's gone mad. He's gone crazy. But so no, I think he's understanding, that it takes a little bit of the WWE, maybe, and it's not that theatrical, but I mean, it's just to make.
But it's awesome, isn't it? It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is awesome. Yeah, so.
And I just have to say that I think Devon Larratt's mental game when it comes to the intimidation of his opponents is on point. I think, he's obviously come from the background of special forces. He's mentally tough. We know that in the real world. So I think he brings so much of that mental guile to the table, and
and he's never been that that figure that's been intimidating. Yeah, we know his background, and I would everybody that knows Devon would be a little bit intimidated if he started looking at you crossways. He used to hightail and run, but for the most part, throughout the years, he's been very polite and politically correct and just never, would look at you strange. So you never had that worried, scared feeling from him. But I think it's great. I mean, it's definitely it definitely ramps up the excitement for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to the state of the sport, John, the other league that has stood the test of time is just the WAF, the WAF World Championships that happens annually. It's in their 40th championship this year. They're I always see them as like the purists of the sport, super strict, but super boring as well.
Right, super amateurish. I mean, to be honest, I went to one tournament in Japan, and the allure was that they were giving away a cash prize to the overall winner, or I probably wouldn't have gone to that. I mean, it's just difficult to qualify and to spend your own money to go to nationals, and then qualify and spend the money to go to worlds for really just recognition, for a medal, a trophy. Yeah. It's definitely the amateur Olympic aspect of the sport, and I mean, to be honest, it might be the toughest tournament to win. I mean, especially for the lighter weight classes. I don't know. What's your thought on that? What is the toughest tournament in the country to win right now?
Yeah, I think it is the deepest tournament. I've only been to one, 2015, and there were 32 people in my class. I pulled the under 80 kilos, and there was a good representation from Europe there. I mean, the best Swedes were there, the best Russians and Ukrainians and Georgians were certainly there. But in terms of North America, Canada, all those sorts of parts of the world, not so much. But it did feel like it was like kind of the Olympics, as you said. It was more about recognition than any professional capacity at all. It cost you a lot of money. Yeah. But,
right. And the refereeing, from what I understand and have seen in the past, is very strict. I mean, you could be a couple elbow mistakes and you're gone. I mean, there's no leeway with that.
We actually had Alfred Corker from Australia, an arm wrestler who's been pulling for about 6 years. He won 4 matches consecutive with his opponent's double elbow fouling.
Right. No, that would be horrible if you traveled halfway across the world and got eliminated by elbow fouls.
Yeah. So it was pretty amazing. But the good thing about the WAF is they've just secured the GAISF, which is the Global Association of International Sports Federation. That's what that acronym is. They've just received the full sanctioning as a globally, officially recognized sport now, which does pave the way massively for the potential of being someday Olympic. And even like in Australia, for instance, it allows the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation to apply to our government to have it recognised as a national sport as well. So
and it does what? I mean,
that gives us
the country subsidizes the sport and
that gives funding
for the kids and
that brings out funding and all that sort of stuff, which is great for grassroots but it's like you said. I think it's the amateur path. It's definitely not the up in lights professional make a career of it path.
Right.
Yeah. But I think I don't know. I feel like overall the sport is at a good time. I know last year it was probably felt like a bit of a kick in the guts with WAL falling over, but I feel like right now we're at a space. Social media is pushing it hard. A lot of people even this show, for instance, you and I on this show, I think is making a massive difference. Right. And just the fact there's multiple people out there doing things like this. Do you feel like it's in a good space overall?
It surprises me, the audience, the amount of people that are fans of the sport, to be honest. I mean, if you would have asked me 4, 5, 6 years ago how many arm wrestlers I thought were out there that actually follow the sport, I would have said maybe a couple thousand. But I mean, you're getting 5,000, 6,000, followers. I mean, Devin has how many umpteen followers?
I think Devin's at about 35,000 subscribers on YouTube.
I mean, that's crazy. I went on I haven't been on it in a long time, but PAL's Facebook site, and 110, 113,000 followers. Holy cow, where are these people coming from? But it shocks me. I mean, I sit in the jetway at work waiting for people to plane. A lot of times when there's a problem with an airplane, and occasionally, maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, I'll have somebody that recognizes me from I don't know where, but it really always puts me on my heels. Like, really, you follow arm wrestling? I mean, I thought it was still kind of the unknown thing.
That's awesome. It blew my mind as well. I mean, when I was just over in the States just a few weeks ago, coming home, the baggage attendant at the LAX airport recognized me and said, "My son's a massive fan of arm wrestling. Can I have a photo with you?" And I thought, you're kidding me.
That's hilarious. No, that's got to make you feel good, right? I mean,
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, kids, kids don't have the opportunity quite yet. I mean, with the schools to, have tables, and the schools don't recognize it as a professional sport like, the basketball and the baseball and the football and that. But I think all kids arm wrestled when they were younger. So I bet they, have access to a computer. They're looking up stuff about arm wrestling. I mean, for sure.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's at a good place, John. Obviously, we were hoping to get Todd Hutchings on the line today, and all Ron Barth, but it wasn't meant to be. But WAL 404, I know we kind of touched on. We did some predictions about it the other week, but WAL 404 is only a matter of a couple of weeks away. Ron Barth and Todd Hutchings, a big match coming up. I feel like Todd Hutchings is going to take this one dominantly. Are you still firmly fixed in that opinion?
I think Ron Bath, the only way Ron Bath is going to be able to win this match is to get Todd past center and then get his patented shoulder roll in there. And I don't think Todd will let that happen. I think Todd's smart enough and strong enough to keep the match in a hook on his side of the table. Yeah. And I think Todd will be able to outlast Ron. Ron is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask when you used to live in the same hometown as Todd and you trained together. What sort of size was Todd during those training days?
He hung around probably, believe it or not, 215, 220. Yeah, I mean, he had to cut a lot of weight to make, what is WAL? Is it 180?
195.
Yeah, 195. Yeah. I mean, he almost nearly had to kill himself to make 195. So, it'll be interesting. What is the catch weight for this match?
I think 220.
220. Okay, well, that hurts Ron and helps Todd. I mean, if it was unlimited weight, then maybe I could say maybe a 245, 250, Ron Bath could possibly,
Yeah. When I say 220, I'll take it back. I have a feeling that they've agreed 230 for Ron, I think.
Okay, right. Because I know Ron, with the age, he's gained a little bit of weight too. He's not the slim trim 220 Ron anymore.
Yeah, and of course, last time we saw Ron really in a high pressure match was, I think, 2016 WAL, where he beat Matt Mask and he almost beat Devin Larratt. I think he scared Devin Larratt. I think he was actually the favourite coming into the match, but Devin got the better of him in the final. So, the power seems like it's there if he's on, or is he just getting too old?
To me, he's got to commit to. I don't think his dragging hook is going to be strong enough to pin Todd. Todd's really difficult to pin to the side. If he can stretch Todd out and be aggressive off the go and get Todd's arm on his side of the table, and then jump up with a press early and then be able to maintain it, then I think he's got chances. The longer the match goes, I think Todd will out endure him. So.
But anyway, I think hopefully over sometime in the next week we might be able to get either Ron or Todd or even both of them on for a chat, because I think that'd be great. To see to know how they think the matches are going to go. That would be really. I think a bit of heated opportunity for them to just lay it down on this show would be amazing, because I think their match is, it's not actually listed as the main event, but I think it pretty much is the people's main event when it comes to WL 404. So that's July 19. So we're very close to that. But hey, John, I'd love to hear your opinion about the Southern Hemisphere's arm wrestling. Pound for pound arm wrestling had its debut tournament last year, but we're going to have a super match series that is modelled on PAL's sort of arm fights for the Southern Hemisphere. Have you pulled many Southern Hemisphere arm wrestlers before?
Well, how long has it been now since I've been to Australia?
It's been about 6 years.
You probably know better than I do.
6 years. 6 years for the Federation, fully fledged, and tournaments and all that sort of stuff. But I think South Africa, you've got a few pretty decent arm wrestlers as well. But and Southeast Asia is coming up quite significantly as well.
Right. Don't know anything about them. I don't. But I see on the internet that they're actively got teams.
Yeah.
So good for them. I mean, I went to South Korea I think maybe a year or two before or after I was in Australia, and a good group of guys. I mean, it's exciting to see that there are good, strong groups and teams in all these different countries.
Yeah. So the super match that I've got, it's a gentleman that I know you have gripped before in a training capacity, and I think he was part of the $1,000 challenge at FitX back in 2014 or 2012, whatever it was the year you came out. But Big Maateiwarangi from New Zealand, the super heavyweight national champ over there. I got a 6 round super match with him. How are you seeing that?
You want me to give you some advice? Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, well, don't give away too many secrets.
Okay, so this is the way I would see it. I mean, I know his size. I mean, someone that normally has a bigger hand and is that large is very difficult to control hand to hand. So, I mean, your offense is to be able to position your knuckles high and pull like a Travis Badgett. Use your arm strength and posting style to protect your hand and wrist from being manipulated, and back pressure, and possibly, you're comfortable in the straps, use the straps if need be, but the only way you're going to really protect your hand, you're not going to be able to cobra roll through his hand, right? I mean, his hand's just too big, massive. So those knuckles have to stay high, and you're going to have to use that posting style back pressure to hopefully wear him out, and hopefully he'll be trying to hang on to you.
That's the thing for me. If this was a 1-round match for me against Big Matt, I would say I have very, very small chance of winning it. But the thing that I'm going to be playing at is the fact that we're going 6 rounds, and it's going to be proper WAF rules. There's going to be lots of opportunity to hopefully get some fatigue on the big man. And so, but
and don't cut yourself short. I don't know. Do you know what his abilities are on a hook? I mean, can you possibly hook him? You're the smaller guy.
Yeah, he is a hitter in an outside sense. So he will. Yeah, so he will only go to the hook if someone forces him there.
Right. Which he's not going to do. I mean, if you try to hook, he's probably going to be trying to top roll, and then that's going to be a difficult spot for you.
But to be honest, I do have an answer to that question, and I've got a plan, but I'm not willing to say it here on the show because I have no doubt Matt's going to watch it. This one's happening 21st of July, so this one's only 2.5 weeks away. So, but it's going to be pretty cool. Like the whole objective of this pound for pound arm wrestling, we've called it the Unleashed Super Series, is to give the Southern Hemisphere a platform to project professional arm wrestling to the rest of the world. So. And hopefully get a few of the Northern Hemisphere champions down here eventually as well.
It's a long trip, but I'd be happy to make it again someday in the future.
I think we'll definitely get you out here at some point in time, but that'd be awesome. Well, John, well, that pretty much wraps up the show for today. Thank you, as always, for your time being on the show.
Right.
And I think that there's so much exciting stuff coming ahead. The state of the sport's good. WAL 404 and 405 is going to be huge. Arm fights. Do you have a favourite? What are you looking forward to most out of all the events on the horizon?
Well, I love the WAL series. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that for sure, and then on to Zloty and see if Devin can prove that he's as good as he's been acting.
I think on our next show we're going to have to maybe get Devin Larratt on the line to pick his brain on some of this craziness that's going on.
And I'm not even sure, is he preparing himself to pull in the open class at the Zloty?
I don't think so.
Or is he just pulling the super match?
I don't think so.
Left hand?
I think it's just the super match left hand. But actually,
that'd be way too much for him because that's really tough to win. Zloty.
Yeah. And before we actually go, John, I'd love to ask you a question about Devin's workload at the moment. I've never seen a calendar as full as Devin's this year, with all the WAL and arm fights. How do you keep up with something that intense?
You can't be 100%, that's for sure. I mean, if you want to be your best, you need to at least have 2 weeks of rest, in my opinion. So to keep training through that is the most difficult part because you want to rest. So, I mean, 6 months of arm wrestling 5 or 6 times, you really have no room for training. But in that case, I would use the arm wrestling competitions as training. I mean, pull after the tournament as hard as you can, rest, maybe get one more workout in, and then do it again. So, it could help him. I mean, he'll definitely be top form. I mean, pulling the best guys time after time after time.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, John. Well, thank you very much once again. We might leave it there, but guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. We'll be back again shortly with plenty to come for the WAL and arm fights in particular. All right. Thanks, John.
All right. See you next time, Ryan. Bye.